Ислам, привет, расскажи, как ты соскучился по боям вообще, сам нет?
Ну нет, еще так не успел соскучиться. Сегодня приехал поддержать наших ребят.
Когда ждать тебя в октагоне? Скоро новости?
Ну, у нас уже на процентов 90 есть договоренность. Наверное, в ноябре.
You have a guy that's wrestled his whole life and grappled his whole life versus JDM, who's kind of like, he's secondary on that, but, you know, you never know. He's a bigger guy. So, you know, we'll see how Islam, how he bulks up and how he looks. He looks a lot bigger than what I remember. I used to train with him forever. So, I mean, he's definitely grown. You know, we'll see how he carries the weight.
Islam Makhachev has just announced a major update on his upcoming potential fight against Della Maddalena. Moreover, Islam Makhachev is undergoing a grueling training camp ahead of his title fight with Della Maddalena. Focused and disciplined, he's sharpening his skills daily with intense wrestling, striking, and conditioning to ensure peak performance on fight night. On the other hand, Robert Whitaker believes Della Maddalena can beat Islam Makhachev because of his size, strength, and underrated jiu-jitsu. He said Jack is hard to hold down and that his takedowns won't be easy for Islam. Whitaker also pointed out Jack's sharp boxing skills, especially in close and mid-range. Jack mixes his punches well with hooks and uppercuts, targets the body, and creates awkward angles. All these things, according to Whitaker, could cause real problems for Islam in the fight.
Why does he beat Islam, in your opinion?
I'm biased as heck.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can see the fight playing out very much like it did with Volk, okay? But Jack's bigger. Jack's a little, he's a little bigger. He's got a different frame. He's a hard dude to try and hold down. And I think his jiu-jitsu is very underrated. He has good jiu-jitsu, which means it won't be free. The takedowns won't be free. Being on top of him won't be free. Not to mention, Jack has really good hands, and if he can keep it into that mid-range, into that distance that he likes, make it awkward. He's very good at not only punching straight lines but punching up. So his hooks, his uppercuts, he mixes it really well. He works the body, which makes it harder to shoot on. You know, I think there's enough angles there to give Islam trouble.
However, Islam Makhachev said there is about a 90% chance that his next fight will happen in November, hinting that it will likely be against Della Maddalena.
Ислам, привет, расскажи, как ты соскучился по боям вообще, сам нет?
Ну нет, еще так не успел соскучиться. Сегодня приехал поддержать наших ребят.
Когда ждать тебя в октагоне? Скоро новости?
Ну, у нас уже на процентов 90 есть договоренность. Наверное, в ноябре.
Luke Rockhold said that Islam Makhachev versus Della Maddalena will be a very tough and interesting fight. He named Islam, Ilia Topuria, and JDM as his 3 favorite UFC fighters right now. He noted that JDM is fun to watch and has good wrestling, but Islam has wrestled and grappled his whole life. Rockhold mentioned that JDM is bigger, and Islam looks bigger than before too, so it will be interesting to see how Islam handles the extra weight.
That's a tough fight. That's a very tough fight. It's going to be interesting. You know, I think those are my 3 favorite fighters in the UFC right now. We go Islam, Topuria, and JDM. He's fun to watch. So, I mean, that's going to be a great fight. You know, he's no slouch at wrestling, but you have a guy that's wrestled his whole life and grappled his whole life versus JDM, who's kind of like, he's secondary on that, but, you know, you never know. He's a bigger guy. So, you know, we'll see how Islam, how he bulks up and how he looks. He looks a lot bigger than what I remember. I used to train with him forever. So, I mean, he's definitely grown. You know, we'll see how he carries the weight.
Israel Adesanya believes Della Maddalena has the size, power, and relentless energy in scrambles that could give him the edge over Islam Makhachev. He pointed out that Jack's aggressive striking and physical strength might overwhelm Islam, especially if Islam struggles to secure takedowns.
I think Della is going to get it done. I feel from talking to Tim and also seeing Della, and also I've only spotted Della once, like not really hard crazy, but and I didn't try and take him down at all, but I've seen him at your gym sparring, and his scrambles are crazy.
Yeah, he's
Even
got good
watching him
scrambles.
with Bilal as well, and Gilbert Burns, his scrambles are crazy. And I feel Islam would feel like he bit off more than he could chew once he gets in there with him, because when he puts some things on him, he's like, oh, I'm not standing with this guy, I have to take him down. And then he tries, gets him down, and he gets back up, or he couldn't get him down, because he's a big dude. People don't realize how big Della is as well, and he's solid. So I really
Dense,
think,
man, just dense.
dense, yeah. Like when I felt, like I said, we're sparring, and then it's just the weight behind it, and the way he throws it, the body banging, man, good.
Additionally, Alexander Volkanovski thinks Jack's fearless approach on his feet, even when facing takedown attempts, along with his growing confidence from competing against tough wrestlers, makes him well prepared for Islam's style.
Jack Della and what he did with Bilal is he will, you know, you get people that are worried about the takedown, so like, and then they don't fight their fight on the feet. I'm gonna fight my fight and worry about the takedown when it's there.
Exactly.
And that's perfect. You need to be like that. For me, like with Islam, was like, I'm gonna do my thing. Yeah, I'll be worried about it, but at the same time, find the shots to go in, boom, boom, boom. But I'll worry about the takedown when they're
Later
there. But
on,
I'll still
once you
commit to
realize
things.
you could handle it, then you were just like, I can handle it.
And the confidence Jack Della is going to have now from getting through that, even though he's going to be confident. And then there's another one when you're successful with guys that are very dominant there. When you have the success there, then all of a sudden you're like, okay, now you end up even that much better at the takedown. And then he's going to do a lot. We're actually going to get a bit of training in and that as well. Like obviously he's going to do.
Over there.
Hey?
You going over there?
He'll probably come over here, or maybe we'll get we'll see. I might even go over there, whatever they want. I'm happy to do whatever.
Both Adesanya and Volkanovski praised Jack's rapid rise in the sport, saying his success is a huge boost for MMA in Australia and New Zealand. Adesanya highlighted how rare it is for fighters from that region to reach the top and expressed pride in Jack becoming the 3rd Australian UFC champion. He also noted that Jack's calmness, focus, and skill at staying composed during scrambles and quickly recovering will challenge Islam. They agreed that Jack's fighting style and mindset make him a serious contender, with Adesanya confident that Jack has the power to score a knockout victory.
Anzac United, whenever one of us does it, it just raises the whole level, the whole game. And I feel like, I don't know, this part of the world needs to understand what we're doing. Like what you've just done, what he's just done. He's the 3rd Australian to get a UFC title. How many Australians are in the UFC?
Exactly right, man. That's
what
what I mean. Like, well, pound for pound, when you talk about countries how small, like Australia, New Zealand is, mate, it's insane.
Understand. But yeah, this fight, Ben Vickers said he's going to knock him out, and I believe him. I honestly believe him, because I just think he's not going to be able to hand with him on the scrambles, or when he gets back up. He's gonna, like, Della is just so stoic. And he just, like you said, is on his own game. And when he does that, I really think he's gonna get him. And I can't wait till that happens. And wherever it is, I'm gonna be there.
Craig Jones thinks Islam Makhachev will face one of his toughest challenges yet. He referenced Islam's first fight with Volkanovski to show that Islam can have difficulty with top-level scrambling. Craig said Jack Della Maddalena adds even more unpredictability in his grappling and ability to break grips.
I think it's a super difficult fight for Islam, this one. He's like, obviously he's faced Volk twice. We'll forget about the second one, but the first one, very competitive with the grappling. And now we're talking about he's facing a guy that's some of the best scrambling ability, I think, period, in all of MMA, and some of the most unorthodox grappling. And I think that's what Bilal struggled with. Bilal really just sticks to a blueprint. The blueprint obviously works very well.
Craig also highlighted Jack's creativity, saying it makes him harder to prepare for compared to fighters like Bilal Muhammad, who follow strict strategies. He pointed out that Jack's size advantage could catch people off guard and expects the fight to be an exciting, striking-heavy battle the UFC enjoys.
But in terms of creativity in what Bilal does, I think it's pretty strict. Jack, as you saw in that fight, some of his off balances and grip breaks and some of the things he does, it's really hard to prepare for that. So I think, like, Islam, the size difference is going to be quite a lot bigger than people think. And we've seen how Volk did on the ground and how much Islam struggled with him in the grappling exchanges. And haven't seen Jack and Volks work together, seeing the skill sets, like, this is a perfect one. The UFC want guys that stand and bang. I'm trying to still help them out, even though potentially enemy.
Meanwhile, Jorge Masvidal spoke about the upcoming fight as a big test for both men. He noted Islam's size and weight cut to 155 pounds and suggested Islam might do even better at welterweight. Despite Islam's strength and skill, Jorge called Jack special and said if Jack wins, he deserves to be considered the top pound-for-pound fighter.
I've seen Islam, bro. He's a big guy. He's sucking out a lot of weight to get to 55. I think he might start doing better at 70. Problem is though, Jack is special. We're gonna see just how special he is if he beats Islam Jack. #1 pound for, wow, that's impressive, you know.
Jorge slightly favors Islam, but warned the fight will be tough. He mentioned Jack's takedown defense against Bilal Muhammad's strong cardio, but stressed that Islam's wrestling and technique are on another level. Jorge said Jack has better striking, speed, and power early in the fight, but if Islam can survive the early pressure and take the fight into later rounds, his experience and grappling skills could give him the edge.
I'm leaning towards Islam, brother.
Oh, really?
You know, but I really think it's gonna be a tough fight for him, but a great fight, man.
Jack was able to defend takedown attempts by Bilal.
Bilal has the best cardio in MMA, but Bilal doesn't have Islam's technique. Not same technique, not same. Very good, very aggressive. Bilal never stops a dog. Attack. But Islam is like smart, man. Boom, you know. Islam's level of wrestling is above. His stand-up game is improving. I don't think he could go stand-up in the beginning with Jack. Jack has way better hands, way better range, faster, stronger. But as the rounds go on later and later, he could do.
Moreover, Craig Jones also said he now feels very confident in Islam Makhachev, admitting he used to underestimate him, but now considers him one of the greatest fighters ever. He mentioned that Islam might be lighter than usual for the fight, which could make the size difference at 170 pounds more noticeable, but still believes Islam has the ability to control and submit Jack if needed.
You feel confident about this one?
Yeah, very, very confident for this one.
You think Islam stays at 170 after this, or do you think he goes back down?
I mean, yeah, good question. I don't know what he's weighing. Like, I think he was posting that he was pretty light, so I'm not sure how he's going to deal with that size difference. I think, obviously, worst case scenario, he goes out ragdolls, potentially submits Jack. I think he's probably going to stay.
You think Ilya beats him?
Who knows with that guy? That guy surprises me every time, eh?
He's incredible, right?
Yeah, I was too hard on him at the beginning. I think I watched some of his fights and just didn't think he was that good. And then, like, I was like, oh, all right. God damn, it's one of the best ever, I think.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
Craig lastly said that if Jack wins, it would put Islam in a difficult position, especially with Ilia Topuria waiting for a chance at the 155-pound title. He joked that losing to Jack might mean Islam has to work hard to get another title shot, but added that it depends on how strong Jack's performance is.
Yeah, I think Jack, I mean, here's the thing, like, if Jack, as I think he will, beats Islam, puts Islam in a difficult position, does he now go back down to fight Ilia after he loses? I know Ilia make jokes, he's like, oh, if you lose to Jack, you have to re-earn the shot of the title, but yeah, I think I really like Ilia's waiting for that fight, and it all is determined by how good a performance Jack does.
Khabib Nurmagomedov said that Jack Della Maddalena might be the toughest opponent Islam Makhachev has ever faced. He pointed out that Jack is much bigger, just as skilled, and has strong grappling skills. Khabib added that if he had to prepare Islam for a fight against either Ilya or Jack, he would be more worried about Jack.
Считаю, что Маддалена самый сложный соперник в ислама карьере. Это мое мнение. Ни Чарльз, никто. Ни один из этих бойцов...
И даже не Илья, если бы это бой был бы.
Ну, мое личное мнение, во-первых, Маддалена 2 раза больше, чем Илья.
Сопоставим.
Илья. Он 2 раза больше. Он выше, больше, ноги помощнее, корпус, бокс не хуже. И грэпплинг он возится очень хорошо, если вы смотрели. Ну, для меня, если я например, буду готовить Ислама против Илья или Маддалены, для меня больше будет волновать и волнует Маддалена.
Max Holloway warned that people are underrating Jack Della Maddalena despite him being one of the best fighters and ranked #2 pound for pound. He said the fight might happen in October and expects it to be tough, smart, and exciting, advising not to underestimate Jack.
I think he'd be fine, man. I think he'd be good, you know, but people be sleeping on Jack, you know what I mean? And I think Jack is one of the best fighters in the world right now, and I think people is gonna find out when that match happens. I don't know. I'm hearing rumors maybe October. I think it's gonna be a fun fight, smart fight, but a lot of people counting out Jack for I don't know what reason. They just keep counting him out. Kind of reminds me of when I was like coming up and counting me out about certain fights. So I mean, he is, you know, he's the number 2 pound for pound in the world right now, but he's the number 2 pound for pound in the world for a reason, so you got to respect that. But you know, don't sleep on Jack. I think it's going to be a tough and fun fight.
Joaquin Buckley mentioned that Islam Makhachev is moving up to 170 pounds, but noted that Jack just went through a tough 5-round battle with Belal Muhammad and might not be ready for a quick fight. He also praised Jack's boxing, comparing it to Canelo's level.
You know, you talk to your brother Islam, you know what I'm saying? He trying to make them big moves up to 170. They trying to make that fight happen with him and JDM, but JDM just went through a whole 5-round war. I don't think my man gonna make it to that fight. He made Belal look like he really had.
Gilbert Burns called Jack one of the hardest hitters he's faced, even harder than Kamaru Usman and Khamzat Chimaev. Burns was surprised by how powerful Jack's jab felt and warned fighters to be careful, sharing that Jack landed a clean knee despite Burns controlling some wrestling exchanges.
JDM is one of the guys that I fought that hits the hardest, and I fought Woodley for Hamza. That guy, that guy gave me a little jab, and then I'm like, wow. God.
JDM and Belal Muhammad, you went under with both of them.
I was able to wrestle him, kind of control him a little bit. At the end, the guy did his thing. I ate a beautiful knee. You can feel it was not a stiff jab, it was just like pick, and then poof. Wow, that guy hits hard. You gotta watch out with that.
Alexander Volkanovski said Jack's fight against Belal Muhammad was ideal preparation for facing Islam. He believes stopping Belal's takedowns gave Jack a big confidence boost and showed his takedown defense has improved, making it tough even for top grapplers to take Jack down or keep him down.
Islam Makhachev is going to be fighting Jack Della Maddalena. How do you think those two match up?
I think Jack's fight against Belal was a perfect fight for leading into that. Just purely, you take a lot out of stop and takedowns, because again, there's every fighter's still going to have little doubts that are going to creep in. You know, I'm sure Jack was going through that, being like, all right, like, you know, worried about, you know, what if he takes me down and all that. But the fact that he was able to stop it and feel so comfortable, I guarantee you he's leveled up again. His confidence in his takedowns has just went up significantly leading into this fight. I think his confidence is going to be at a whole nother level. So through camp, like, I guarantee you if he's back in training right now, people trying to take him down are going to find it almost impossible. You know, only the top guys are going to have a chance of taking him down, and they're going to have a very hard time even holding him down.
Philip Rowe expressed strong confidence in Jack Della Maddalena, believing Jack would beat Islam Makhachev. He explained that Islam doesn't have the size to match top welterweights, and Jack's power plus his ability to get back up after takedowns would be overwhelming. Rowe predicted Jack would likely stop Islam before the fight goes the distance.
Philip Rowe, what's cracking, man?
Chillin'. Hey, now listen, you're welterweight. You've been in the game a long time. Islam moving up to 170. Is he big enough for 170?
My personal opinion, I don't think he is, but he's a champ. We'll see when he's there. You know what I'm saying? He has a fight. He's fighting the champ. That's the best 170 in the world right now, right? So we'll see.
So you don't think he has the size, but how do you think he does in the fight versus JDM?
I personally think JDM beats him. I think JDM will be able to get up if he does take him down. I don't think he'll be able to take JDM shots. I think personally he'll stop Islam.
Navajo Sterling boldly predicted that Jack Della Maddalena would dominate Islam Makhachev in a welterweight title fight. He said Jack's size and knockout power would make it hard for Islam to use his wrestling effectively. Sterling also mentioned that if Jack wins, it would take away excitement for a future matchup between Islam and Ilia Topuria. He believes Islam is facing a very difficult challenge.
You picked JDM to win. Now he's got a big challenge in his first title defense against Islam. Do you think he's got what it takes to beat an Islam Makhachev in his first defense?
People are going to say it's a wild take, but I reckon JDM smokes Islam, shins him so bad. It's going to be so bad that the Topuria Islam thing will just be gone.
Do you think Islam's wrestling won't be a threat to JDM just because he's a lot bigger?
He's a lot bigger, and like when you watch JDM, like you put him on the end of mid-range, he's just going to throw. It's hard to like shoot in on. He's not going to be able to just abuse his size against him either. I think Islam's in for a rude awakening.
Dustin Poirier said the outcome depends on the early round. If Islam gets Jack to the ground quickly, Dustin thinks Islam could control the fight. But if Jack avoids takedowns, his powerful boxing and strength could cause serious trouble for Islam. Dustin also noted that Islam's striking, though sometimes awkward, is effective because opponents worry about takedowns and stay cautious.
Do you think he beats Jack Della Maddalena?
I think we'll find out first, second round how much trouble he has getting him down. I think if he gets those takedowns, he's gonna get the win. if Jack can stop those takedowns, which he does have good takedown defense, I think the boxing and the size could wear on Islam and give him some problems. But his striking's, awkward and different. You have to worry so much about the takedown. You can't plant your feet and throw off those number combinations and really rip and sit on your punches because he's going to change levels. So it changes the way you fight. Well, for me, it did. I'm speaking from experience. So we'll see how Jack approaches and how Jack executes out there. But if you're worried about takedowns, your shots are different. You're not sitting on everything and standing in front of the guy. You're trying to move and be light on your feet. I think the first 2 rounds will tell us how this fight's gonna go.
Ian Gary said the fight is hard to predict. He praised Islam Makhachev's well-rounded skills, but noted that moving up 15 pounds makes a big difference. Gary highlighted Jack Della Maddalena's size, powerful boxing, and better takedown defense as important strengths. Despite this, he still sees Islam as a slight favorite because of his elite abilities.
Who do you think wins, Jack or Islam?
It's such a tough one to talk about. Islam is phenomenal. He's good everywhere. Size matters. When you're talking about an extra 15 pounds, when you look at the size of Volkanovski versus Jack Della Maddalena, there's a big size discrepancy. And Volk gave him a good fight. And then Dustin Poirier, it wasn't absolutely completely dominant by Islam. It was a tough fight. Size is going to play a huge part. Even on the ground, I feel like Jack could get it done with just some clean boxing and good takedown defense. But I can absolutely see Islam coming in and doing what Islam does and going out there and just looks like the phenomenal mixed martial artist he is.
Charles Oliveira praised Jack for being a dangerous fighter due to his patient style. He said Jack doesn't rush knockouts, but breaks opponents down, like he did with Belal Muhammad. Oliveira believes Islam will still be strong at welterweight and rely heavily on his grappling. The fight, according to Oliveira, might come down to whether Jack can keep it standing or if Islam dominates on the ground.
O que você acha que ganha entre o Jack Della Maddalena e o Islam?
Maddalena, ele é jogo muito complicado, porque ele é cara que ele não vem pra te nocautear rápido, ele vem pra te finalizar, ele vem te magoando, né?
Aos poucos, né?
Aos poucos. Foi o que ele fez agora no luta contra o Bilal. Só que eu acho que o Islam vai se dar muito bem nessa categoria, né, mano? Agora vai estar muito mais forte, é um jogo que, tipo, ele gosta de agarrar e botar pra baixo. Eu acho que o Jack Maddalena fazia a mesma luta que ele fez, né? Agora contra o Bilal, batendo, movimentando, saindo, machucando, é uma luta, mas se deixar o Islam agarrar e botar pra baixo é o time.
Renato Moicano said the fight between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena is a true 50-50 matchup. He acknowledged Islam's powerful grappling and size at lightweight, but explained that moving up to welterweight introduces new challenges. Moicano emphasized that Islam will need time to gain size and adjust to competing against naturally bigger opponents, making the fight evenly matched.
So Islam versus JDM, I think they probably should be even, because even though Islam is a good grappler, he's big for 155. He's moving to 170. We never know, I think he needs to take some time to work on to gain weight, to gain power, to gain strength. So that's why the odds are even, and I think they should be even.
That's it for today's video. So what are your thoughts on this fight? What do you think about their matchup? We would love to hear your thoughts on this clash. So share your thoughts in the comment section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video. Also check out our other latest videos on the screen right now.